concept is also applied to seek the improvement of sustainable palm oil governance in Indonesia. Integration the issue of sustainability into the palm oil business growth strategy is essential to maximize the value of the palm oil industry. And then the improvement in research and development can support the increasing of production efficiency and quality, discover new palm oil products as substitutes, and then to ensure environment-friendly industry. Sustainable development can be assessed from economic dimension, social and environmental, and the top priority of the environmental protection, public and worker safety, and then the last one is healthcare. So they are the top priorities in the sustainable development goals. In an economic perspective, palm oil industry has indeed had a major impact on job creation, like I previously mentioned in the previous discussion. Indonesia palm oil production annual growth rate showed the highest increase in Indonesian palm oil production, was more than 32% in 1989, and fluctuating in 2018 by more than 5% or higher from 2019. Okay, from the production and export data, Indonesia is the world's first top producer of palm oil with a total production in 2019 was 9% higher than 2018. And then the country's largest export of palm oil in 2019 are China, and then followed by the European Union and India. That is based on the country of destination in 2019. However, in 2018, India is the largest destination country of palm oil Indonesia, followed by China and the European Union. Okay, and then compare with the 2015, the amount of production, production, and then consumption, export, and stock palm in 2016 tend to increase to 2019. And then the largest consumption of palm oil in Indonesia is for food consumption. As for the export, Indonesian palm oil development is more optimized for biodiesel. And then in the term of trade, compared with the oil and gas sector, palm oil is more stable than another sector. Okay, to control domestic market prices, the government applies a palm oil tax. For example, in 2016, Indonesia managed more than 11 trillion of CPO export device. And then this regulation has also had an impact on increasing the added value of the downstream palm oil industry. Okay, and then, what is it? Sorry. Okay, and then from the social dimension, smallholders' ownership of palm plantation show that palm oil provides welfare opportunity for rural communities. Another side, exploitation, land conflicts affect to low productivity, low price, and limited access to finance and markets. Okay, sorry. Okay, environmental and environmentally, Indonesia's palm oil development has contributed to global deforestation and represents 16% of total forest loss in Southeast Asia during 1972 due to unsustainable legal and illegal logging or forest fires. And palm oil industry has provided significant benefits for the economy and welfare, but not for environment. Okay, move to the application of the multi-stakeholder engagement. Palm oil industry has not been able to balance the socio-economic and environmental aspect. Industry players do not have a strong commitment to implement sustainability aspect. Vulnerable political situation also allows the industry to undermine the existing laws. And then the presence of SPO has become a national standard that offers a continuation concept in development of palm oil plantation. So by using a multidimensional approach, the partnership between global partner and industry player exert bias in the implementation of sustainable development. Okay, multi-stakeholder defined as two or more classes of actors who have been involved in the same corporate governance regarding public issues. Multi-stakeholder governance views the type of actors involved and the nature of authority relationships between actors. According to the first variation, multi-stakeholder governance has four classes of actors: state, AGO, firms, and civil society. And then the actors who involved are in Indonesian government, smallholder farmers, and business. SPO has been operating since 2011 on the specific certification Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil Plantation Guidelines to fulfill their obligations, protect and promote sustainable palm oil plantation business. And then in 2015, through regulation of the Minister of Agriculture on the Sustainable Palm Oil Certification System with mandatory and voluntary business group to carry out SPO certification, and the newly presidential regulation in 2020. Okay, and then AGO, the second layer of the sustainable certification in palm oil, Indonesian palm oil. UNTP facilitates sustainable palm oil production, cooperation between the government of Indonesia and then private sectors and other non-government partners to address deforestation and improve the livelihoods of smallholder farmers. Actually, AGO has rule essential capacity in the process of setting regulatory standards due to their independence, representation, expertise, and operational capacity. And then the state utilize AGO to manage competition and advance their common interests. And the last actor is civil society, who improve and strengthen the SPO certification system. Okay. The second application of the multi-stakeholder concept is the nature of authority relationships between actors.
Lalu maaf, waktunya 1 menit lagi ya. Okay. Saya diingatkan panitia.
Oke, baiklah. Oke, under the polycentric management, government plays as a role in managing problem, and then the companies and civil society work to influence public management issues. Polyarchy is a role by people, not majority or minority groups. And then polyarchy needs a consensus, which is then formulated to be the norm or rules of play and political activities with the aim of bridging the differences between actors' idea. The government of Indonesia and UNDP through SPO initiative brought the result of a discussion on palm oil sustainability to the Ministry of Agriculture. Okay. Direct to the conclusion. From this study, I conclude that SPO initiative is also a window of opportunity to create a more socially responsible palm oil industry. However, the distribution of responsibilities in a series of heterogeneous behaviors in which each actor has formal power and homogeneous actors who have the same formal power led to the rules and practices of institutional arrangement are constantly changing. So the issue of distribution of rules limits the authority of actors and consequence of polyarchy management, which in turn weakens the institution and implementation of the certification itself. Okay, that's all of my presentation today. If you have any question, you can direct to ask to me. Thank you.
Terima kasih banyak Mbak Galuh.
Ya, sama-sama Pak.
We give applause to Mbak Galuh ya. Mohon maaf, saya agak kurang sehat ini. We only have 3 minutes for Q&A. Jadi silakan teman-teman kalau ada yang mau bertanya, waktu kita hanya 3 menit dari panitia. Bisa chat, Mbak Galuh bisa cek juga nanti di chatnya, atau ada yang mau mengatakan secara langsung, directly, please.
Atau bisa move ke yang lain nanti sambil ada pertanyaan di ini ya, yang di chat ya.
Waktunya dibatasin per orang, Mbak Galuh.
Oke.
Nanti kalau misalnya semua sudah presentasi dan kita masih punya waktu, mungkin bisa. Oke. Akan dilanjut nanti kalau ada pertanyaan. Moga-moga nanti ada. Sekali lagi terima kasih banyak Mbak Galuh. Thank you very much for your presentation. Ya. Kita give applause to Mbak Galuh sekian ya. Menarik dan terima kasih terlibat dalam iCobar ya, untuk kita semua. Ya. Thank you for your presentation and your ideas. Ya, nanti kalau teman-teman akan bertanya bisa dilanjutkan berikutnya ya. Nah, sementara kita selesaikan dulu ini. Kita lanjut ke Ibu Faustin. Apakah sudah hadir?
Belum hadir sepertinya. Dan Pak Felix nggak apa-apa Pak.
Oke, terima kasih Mas Holil untuk for your assessment. Kalau begitu ke Pak Felix karena Pak John Felix. Selamat sore. Terima kasih untuk terlibat di iCobar ini. Kami persilahkan waktu Pak John Felix. Kalau dari video yang diminta itu antara 10 sampai 12 menit, tapi mungkin kalau bisa 10 menit itu baik. Atau kalau mau langsung presentasi, it's okay.
Saya pakai video aja. Pak, videonya bisa di-play dari Bapak atau bagaimana?
Kalau ada langsung boleh Pak, dari Bapak.
Oh iya.
Sebentar ya. Kita bantu. Ya.
Oke, selamat sore semua. Saya akan memulai presentasi saya lewat video. Good day. I hope you all are doing well. My name is John Felix, and today I will present our paper titled Original and Unengineered Image in Digital Photography. Is it possible? Let's begin. Photography, especially in a journalistic genre, is a photograph that is considered a photo that displays circumstances or situation as it is. In general, photojournalism is an image produced through a photographic process to convey a message, information, a story of an event that appeals to the public and is disseminated through mass media. So, photojournalism is a photo that tells of the fact, reality, or things that happen naturally, not engineered. But with advance in photography technology and images processing software, the photos published on the mass media also do not escape image manipulation. In general, photojournalistic communities argue that photo manipulation is unacceptable for news and documentaries, but at the same time, adjustment to photograph, known as minor change, where dodging and burning, toning and color adjustment are considered acceptable and will be judged based on case by case by looking at the context and the genre of the photography. Thus, there is a kind of collision in the originality or authenticity aspect between photojournalism that seeks to display photos that have integrity or honesty and the photo manipulation applied in the process before it's being published on the mass media. Now, by questioning the originality or authenticity of the photo, we get the notion that the image that came out directly from the digital camera, unmanipulated via any picture editing software, is the authentic or original image that tells of the fact, reality, things that happen naturally and not engineered. In order to prove whether that notion is true or not, we have to understand how the analog photography works and how the digital photography works in recording an image. Analog photography uses film as a medium to record light. The process of recording the light onto the medium is created by using photochemical reaction. It is a reaction between light and silver halide crystals. In general, there are two types of film based on the color performance. The first one is black and white negative film. The second one is color negative film. By opening the camera shutter, you form a latent image of the visible light reflected off the objects that you photograph. This process creates what we call a latent image. This latent image must be amplified and stabilized in order to make a negative image of the original scene that can then be printed and viewed by reflected light. It is a negative in the sense that it is darkest in the area that receives the most light exposure. In places that receive no light, the negative has no silver atoms and is clear. In order to make it a positive image that looks normal to the human eye, it must be printed onto another light-sensitive material, usually photographic paper, or it can be scanned to convert it into digital file. During development, the presence of silver that has been exposed to light leads to a proportional buildup of dyes. The original silver is then bleached out, leaving the dyes to form visible image. The colors formed in the color negative film are based on the subtractive color system that layered on top of each other as illustrated in the picture. When negative color is being printed onto a photo paper, the white light that comes from the enlarger will go through magenta dye and cyan dye transparent layer in the negative film and produce blue light, because in the additive color system, blue is controlled by mixing magenta and cyan light color. Blue color is necessary in order to produce yellow color on the photo paper because photo paper has three primary additive color light sensitive layered emulsion that will produce subtractive primary color dye, just as how the negative being coated. When the blue light hit the photo paper, the blue light sensitive layer on the paper will be activated and produce yellow dye, the original color of the light or object that has been photographed. Now, it is clear that through analog process, the camera can be understood as a picture-making device because at the time of capture, there is an image that has been produced via direct contact between photosensitive chemical and the light that bounces from the photographed object. This chemical instantly produces image, which can be function as the original image from which the copies can be made. The photography process in the digital era is more likely to be a computational photography process. The sensor inside the camera consists of two elements: the charge-coupled device, usually known as CCD, or a complementary metal oxide semiconductor, usually known as CMOS, that becomes electrically charged when exposed to light, with the amount of charge proportional to the intensity of the light. But these components are monochromatic devices. They only measure the amount of voltage acquired by each pixel, so these devices are only sensitive to light but not differentiate the wavelength. In order to collect the color data, a second device called Color Filter Array, or CFA, must be placed in front of the CCD or CMOS to separate the wavelength of the visible light into primary colors. The rest are being added by the computer with the process known as color filter array interpolation or demosizing. Interpolation is a mathematical process of estimating a missing value by taking an average of known values at neighboring points. The demosizing process, in most cases, conducted within the image processing chain in the camera, and the user is likely to have little or no control over the process. It is clear that in digital photography, 2/3 of the pixels are created by computer. Thus it can be concluded that 2/3 of your pixels are fake. In computational photography, the process by which an image is produced begins with the raw data. Raw data is the set of digitized monochrome pixel values for the red, green, and blue components of the image as recorded by the sensor. Additional metadata relating to the image processing normally conducted in the camera is also saved. This means that a RAW stores the pixel value directly recorded by the sensor prior to CFA interpolation and requires photo editing software to perform the CFA interpolation using a RAW converter.
Pak John, 2 menit
RAW
lagi ya.
is not an
2
observable
minutes more.
or latent image. When the JPEG format is chosen, the built-in RAW converter algorithms produced by the camera maker that has been installed into the camera carries out all the tasks to produce a color image and then compresses it into the JPEG format, and the user has little or no control of the process. As the result, the JPEG pictures are the camera's interpretation of the scene. So with digital photography, it is clear that by the process, digital photography has no original image, and the data that has been collected by the camera will always require post-processing in order to be an image. This means there is no fully formed picture at the time of capture, only data that has to be processed. The camera in the digital era must be understood as a data collection device, a device that gathers as much data as possible about the object and the environment that the object in, and then later using advanced computational to process that data into the final image. Thus it can be concluded that 1. The picture that came out directly from the digital camera cannot be considered as original image because there is no fully formed image at the time of capture. If the JPEG format is selected, the camera will use its built-in RAW converter to process and interpret the pixel value and compress it to JPEG image. 2. The picture that came out directly from digital camera cannot be considered as a picture that tells of a fact because the camera only collects about 1/3 of the samples in the color image. The rest are being added by the computer with the process known as color filter array interpolation or demosizing and not a fundamental property of light in the physical world. The fact in this conclusion refers to the authenticity of recorded light from the scene that form the layout of things and colors of the image, not the fact that the event has happened. 3. The picture that came out directly from digital camera cannot be considered as picture that is not engineered because digital camera act as a data collection device, not as a picture-making device like the analog camera. Because digital camera is a data collection device, there is no in-camera image in the form of latent image. Therefore, digital photography always required post-processing. In this post-process, 2/3 of the pixels are created by computational means. Therefore, the outcome image is already engineered. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pak John Felix.
Yeah.
Dear friends, we have 3 minutes for Q&A. Please, if you have a question for Pak John Felix.
Ya, silahkan kalau ada yang mau bertanya.
Saya bertanya sedikit, Pak John Felix.
Ya.
ada ethical issues regarding ketika sebuah foto diedit tidak? We discuss about reality and hyper reality, something like that.
Ada. Jadi pada saat fotonya itu digunakan biasanya sebagai untuk foto news, itu dia tidak seharusnya boleh diedit. Gitu. Diedit itu dalam artian apa yang tidak ada di scene itu ditambahkan. Tapi sampai sekarang untuk editing yang minor seperti dodging, burning, itu semua diperbolehkan. Nah, problemnya adalah editing semacam ini itu mengambil dasar pada saat kita masih menggunakan film, belum digital. Jadi konsepnya di news, kenapa ini semua diperbolehkan? Karena mereka menganggap pada saat kita memotret, di dalam kamera itu sudah ada gambar. Gitu. Efeknya adalah mereka menganggap bahwa itu tidak bisa ditakuti gitu, karena di dalam kamera udah ada latent image-nya. Tapi pada saat di digital tidak ada gambar. Jadi sebetulnya pada saat kita masuk ke era digital, seluruh gambar, sebagian gambar yang tercipta, yang muncul itu sebetulnya adalah hasil rekayasa dari matematis ya, dari computational fotografi itu. Jadi mungkin kalau yang saya mau bilang adalah cara pandangnya yang mesti diubah di era digital ini, bahwa yang namanya fotografi yang tidak direkayasa itu nggak ada, dari awal sudah terekayasa semuanya.
Iya. Sebetulnya kita bisa lanjutkan dengan soal semiotika ya, bagaimana memaknai gambar itu ya. Tapi oke, thank you very much Pak John Felix ya. Terima kasih bergabung dengan iCobar juga. Mungkin sudah lebih dari 3 menit, tapi it's okay. Sekali lagi terima kasih. We give applause for Pak John Felix ya. Selanjutnya, apakah mau Ibu Faustina atau Mbak Mungki? Bisa Mbak Mungki dulu coba. Mohon maaf, I'm so sorry nih.
Oke, hold a second. Mas Holil, boleh ada video saya enggak? Okay. So, good day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mungki Dianasari from Communication Department Studies. So, I would like to menyapa, ada di sini 2 kolega penulis di artikel yang sama, ada Pak Margana dan juga Pak Eblo Yufriyadi. Satu lagi ada satu penulis alumni mahasiswa kami, tapi I think sis cannot be joined today. So I would like to begin my presentation. So our research is about women and prostitution in Indonesian television news. The background of this research were actually we criticize about the how media frame women. You know, you might see if the issues about women, whether it's about prostitutions or it's about women related to corruptions or anything else, the media only focus on their, you know, like scandals or the body of the women or something not focus on the issues or the case itself. So this research actually took a case study online, prostitute that involved a female public figure. You might remember in the early 2019 about Vanessa Angel, who was captured by the police in Surabaya because of online prostitutions, and but in our opinion, in our research, I think there's some point of view that the media not what it called, not focus on the case, but focus on the, you know, like the how the angel's lifestyle or anything else. So I'll make it short because I just something happened. So okay, hold a second. Okay. I don't want to explain again about who is Vanessa Angel, that you might be known about her, and I'll make it short. The reason why we choose the two national TV broadcasts, Kompas TV and also iNews, is because both of the both of them are national television network, and they are broadcast free in Indonesia. So the impact of the broadcast or the publicity of the news of them will be shape of the public opinion, you know, in this term about women. So you can see in the next slide. In Kompas TV, there is a title with Vanessa Angel ajukan penahanan penangguhan. We can see that the Kompas TV still focus on the case. Kompas TV still want to explore why was the case happen? Why was the motive happen? Why was the Vanessa Angel involved in that case? So Kompas TV still focus on the you know, the case itself. While in the other slide, you can see in iNews, iNews in the title, Vanessa diduga aktif tawarkan diri pada mucikari, you know, like a pimp. It's obviously that iNews wants to frame that Vanessa as a woman, you know, as a public figure, she likes to, you know, they frame from the, you know, patriarchy, or put women as an object, not the subject itself. So our methodology, we use CDA by Sarah Mills. If you might ever learn or heard about or read about Sarah Mills' theory, it speaks about media and social institutions tend to tell women's stories using men's perspective. So instead to put women as subject, according to Mills, women positions as object. So Mills criticized that women should not be object but as a subject. So in the tools of Mills itself, she used subject and object positions because according to Mills, subject
3
on
minutes
object.
left ya Mbak Mungki.
Okay Pak, matur suwun. And then Mills see that writer and reader position was formed because it was different from the view of most experts. So in Mills' perspective, reader and writers, it's not just, you know, stand alone, but they are connected each other. The result of the Kompas TV, there are 18 coverage since 5th to 16th January 2019, and they were also no, they just for news story that convey the discourse and truth value to the audience. I'll make it short. While the iNews, they have 68 coverage since 5 to 16 January 2019, but only 7 coverage containing gender discourse and truth value that burdens female positions in prostitution's case. And conclusions of our research. Hold a second. I want to see my. Okay. Finally, gender representations that contradicts the news of iNews, which is considered lacking in representing the gender of women and men equally. Kompas TV has implemented a discourse based on feminist value in reporting on online prostitution cases involving Vanessa Angel explain the differences in the quality of news broadcast obtained the result of the Indonesia Broadcasting Commission, or we call in Indonesia KPI, Komisi Penyiaran Indonesia. While the iNews based on KPI result show that the station was with the lowest index result in its period during 2018. So the point of our research, Kompas TV, as you can see in the slide, managed to equalize the gender positions of women and men by allowing discourse that explain the freedom of a woman to determine her identity and actions, including having sex outside marriage without consent. With consent. While the iNews still focused to like the scandal. iNews still considered has not uncovered the real problems in this online prostitution case at the macro level. Well, that's our presentations. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. Pak Yosef, terima kasih.
Terima kasih banyak. Most welcome Mbak Mungki. Terima kasih untuk presentasinya yang luar biasa juga. Tadi Pak John Felix dan Mbak Galuh luar biasa. Hampir semua secara kualitatif ya. Dan ada yang konten analisis segala macam luar biasa. Yeah. Ini satu yang berbeda. Apakah ada sekarang kita punya we have 3 minutes for Q&A. Please, Bapak Ibu.
Please, Bapak Ibu, don't hesitate
Sangat
to ask.
Berharga masukan teman-teman semua. Your advice, your feedback is very important for the authors.
Yes. Please don't hesitate, please. If you.
Saya tadi tertarik karena Mbak Mungki refer to Michel Foucault ya.
Michael Foucault, yes Pak.
Ya, saya menggunakan Michel Foucault ketika saya menulis disertasi saya yang pertama di antropologi. It's quite, because he told about power contestation.
Yes.
Nah, mungkin kalau teropong saya akan terlihat di situ kontestasi kekuasaan antara mass media. Dalam hal ini mungkin kita bisa sebut, we can say Vanessa Angel as victims, or another political interesting that yang masuk semua di situ ya. Nah, itu menarik untuk ditelah. Dan saya sih suggest Mbak, mungkin bisa dipecah lagi menjadi beberapa paper malahan itu kalau ada sisi.
Yes, thank you Pak for masukannya. Betul ya. Memang ini bisa dikembangkan
gitu ya.
Iya betul. Memang sebenarnya ini salah satu potret sih Pak. Karena di Indonesia kebanyakan ketika kasus yang melibatkan perempuan, entah dia menjadi korban, entah dia mungkin istrinya dari koruptor gitu, tapi dieksploitasi kehidupan sosialnya. Artinya kasus apapun gitu, termasuk prostitusi. Jadi tidak pada fokusnya mencari kok usernya juga kasus Vanessa Angel itu usernya nggak dieksplor, terus jadi yang hanya dieksplor sama media hanya Vanessa Angel, tapi usernya si laki-lakinya nggak pernah diekspos gitu.
Mungkin udah mention about the power of patriarki sebetulnya, itu sendiri sudah bisa beberapa paper.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pak Yosef, for your
Nanti
masukan.
kita diskusikan kalau sudah tidak ada pandemi sudah mereda, nanti kita bisa menulis bersama nih, kolaboratif. Ya,
matur suwun, Pak.
Ya, oke. Thank you, Mbak Mungki.
Thank you so much, Bapak Ibu. Thank you.
Kita lanjut ke Ibu Faustin. Apakah ada?
Sepertinya nggak hadir, Pak.
Oh, nggak hadir ya. Kalau
jadi
begitu,
tinggal Bapak gimana, Pak?
Oke, saya coba. Unfortunately, I cannot open my video, so I do my best. I try to share the PowerPoint. Apakah sudah muncul, Mas Holil?
Muncul, Pak. Muncul, Pak. Oke, Pak.
Oke. Sorry, ini muncul juga yang lain? Enggak kan? PPT-nya muncul kan, Mas?
Muncul, Pak.
Tidak ketutup yang lainnya. Okay.
Muncul, Pak, muncul.
I submit 4 papers for ICOBAR. One of them is about the effect of work satisfaction on turnover intention in millennials generation in Indonesia unicorn company with work engagement as moderating variable. Jadi last year I focused my research focused on millennials as a respondent. Sorry. The study aims to see the effect of job satisfaction on turnover intention moderating with work engagement in the millennials generation who work in Indonesian unicorn companies, especially. Apakah masih berjalan PPT saya? Mohon dicek, Mas Holil.
Masih tampil, Pak.
Masih tampil dan bergeser ke slide kedua?
Enggak, Pak.
Atau masih di judul? Atau masih di title? First
oh, enggak, Pak.
Slide?
Bergeser, Pak. Bergeser.
Udah bergeser, oke. Okay. Industrial 4.0 phenomena is the fourth industrial revolution after the era of globalization. So answering questions that were not answered in the era of globalization, Industrial 4.0 emerged with major changes based on technology. The term Industrial 4.0 is used to summarize the paradigm shift in the economic after the report of the Industrial Science Research Alliance Working Group was presented to the German Chancellor. So Industrial 4.0 is the fourth idea of industrial development with Internet of Things, services, data and people that will change the future of manufacturing. Industrial 4.0 was launched based on the principle of cyber physical system or CPS, the Internet of Things or IoT, and the Internet of Services or IOS. The main technology of 4.0 is CPS, which is merging of physical and cyber system on the merging of the real world and cyberspace. So that I mentioned about the reality and hyper reality when I asked John Felix before. The birth of Industrial 4.0 was marked by a process of automation and full digitalization in manufacturing and personal services. Concrete evidence of Industrial 4.0 is 3D printers, automatic food ordering services, automatic goods ordering, and various other things. Industrial 4.0 is defined by digital production, intelligence, networking, and is largely self-managed, achieved through a combination of production techniques, information technology, and the internet. And this is the Industry 4.0, and then the millennial generation is generation born between 1980s until 2000. The life of such generation cannot be separate from information technology. And then especially the internet, and now about digital things. From the data above states that startup companies are controlled by the millennial generation. Millennial generation, according to research, is the generation that will have the greatest impact on the world than previous generation, like baby boomer or X generation. Sorry. Turnover intention can be seen from behavior exhibit by employees, such as being late. So the one of my variable is about the turnover intention. Yeah. Absence and lack of enthusiasm from employees. Turnover intention can cause instability in the company and decrease the company's performance. Broadly speaking, turnover intention can cause losses to the company. I'm sharing from some directors and managers. They are confused how to deal with the millennials. And I lost my PPT. And then another variable that I research in this research I conduct with my student is job satisfaction. Is an individual perception, because now I'm in psychology department, so especially I try to make a research about perception. Yeah. Job satisfaction is an individual's perception of pleasure or positive emotions in the process of assessing work. Job satisfaction is a broad view of individuals, but it was found that salary or reward, experience or training, and facilities are three things that are considered important in the millennial generation in their job satisfaction. Characteristic of participants in this study that I mentioned before is millennial generations, yeah? Especially millennial generation that employ at unicorn level startup companies in Indonesia, like Tokopedia, Bukalapak, Traveloka, and Gojek. Okay. Yeah. And this is the result, based on data that has been processed using the Smart PLS application. The model and the effect of work satisfaction on turnover intention and millennial generation in Indonesia unicorn company with work engagement as moderating variable. And this is the result. In most references, a factor weight, as 0.50 or more is considered to have validation. Yeah? And then the result, nonetheless, the p-value. Now you see the p-value. Yeah. And my conclusion is based on the result, the research that has been done. It can be concluded that it is the study based on the result of the hypothesis test. The result been in the form of H1 are hypothesis 1 are accepted, which means there is an influence of job satisfaction on turnover intention in millennial generation employees who work at startup company in the unicorn level in Indonesia. This is evident by the result of the questionnaire distributed to 200 participants in accordance with the criteria, so that the data obtained and then processed by authors by conducting a simple linear regression test, which is to get a result in the form of significant values, which means that hypothesis 1 is accepted and Handel is rejected. Thank you. This is more simple than I already prepared for my videos. I'm so sorry that I cannot open the video.
Okay, Pak.
I'm so sorry, I cannot open the video, so
Okay, Pak.
Little bit nervous and panic. I lost my PPT and I lost my video also. I'm so sorry. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, friends, bagaimana? Apakah ada yang ingin ditanyakan? Kalau 3 presenter sebelumnya itu demikian kualitatif, saya mulai dengan kuantitatif. Ya. Saya submit 4 paper dan keempat-empatnya kuantitatif. Dan itu hasil riset tahun lalu yang saya fokuskan untuk melihat meneliti tentang generasi millennials. Yang satu paper ini bicara tentang job satisfaction dan turnover intention. Yang lain, yang satunya lagi yang masih di grup ini adalah flexi time untuk generasi millennials. Mas Kolil, mohon dibantu.
Oke, Pak.
Waktunya sudah cukup.
Ibu
Faustin
belum hadir, Pak. Ini tinggal punya Bapak satu lagi, Pak.
Saya satu lagi.
Monggo dilanjut, Pak.
Saya baru kali ini presentasi di conference itu maraton begini ya.
Iya.
Oke, tapi ini pengalaman yang menarik. Saya mau...
Hebat, Pak.
Sudah sampai keringetan padahal lagi sakit tenggorokan. Oke, saya lanjut yang kedua ya.
Iya, Pak.
Apakah dilihat PPT-nya udah berganti belum, Mas?
Belum, Pak.
Belum ya?
Iya.
Apakah sudah?
Masih belum, masih terima kasih. Nah, sudah Pak.
Sudah ya? Oke. Oke. So teman-teman ini yang kedua saya supaya nggak makin sakit tenggorokan saya baca yang saya siapkan aja ya. Artikel yang kedua itu the title is The Effect of Flexi Time on Work-Life Balance of Millennials Generation Employees in Jakarta with Turnover Intention as Moderating Variables. Kalau yang di sebelumnya turnover intention itu menjadi dependent variables, sekarang jadi moderating variables. Di tengah antara dependent variabelnya work life dan independent variablesnya itu flexi time. The study aims to study the effect of flexi time on work-life balance of millennial generation employee in Jakarta. Yeah. This is another explanation about Industrial Revolution 4.0. Yeah. In previous presentation, I already explained about Industrial Revolution 4.0 also. Yeah. But each paper is a different explanation about Industrial Revolution 4.0. So the world has launched the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0, the fourth Industrial Revolution, which became a means in human life and brought great changes in technology. The McKinsey Global Institute identifies that Industrial 4.0 is referred to as the era of cyber physical system, or CPS, as I mentioned before, that integrate computing, network, and physical processes by combining technology that connects cellular devices, robotics, 3D, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things. The research method used in this study is quantitative method, as I mentioned before. The sampling technique used in this study is non-probability sampling. The measurement instrument used to measure work balance in the study adapted from the work-life balance scale, WLBS, which include work interference with personal life, WIPL, personal life interference with work, PLIW, work enhancement of personal life, WEPL, and personal life enhancement of work, PLEW. This is the illustration about flexi time, because millennial generations or Y generation prefer to work with their flexi time. Then and they choose flexi time, whether like us, we usually choose 9 to 5. But actually, when in another research, we got result that flexi time take more times and effort for millennials actually, but they love to do that. And this is the result. Also, 200 respondents that came. And we try to process and test using the Smart PLS statistic modeling application. And this is after indicator of loading factors. excuse me. And this is the p-value. And I stick to the conclusions. This research was conducted on millennial generation employees who work in the Jakarta area with an age range 19 to 39 actually, sorry. And we get 200 respondents who match the characteristic of the research subjects. Yeah. And we process respondent data by conducting simple linear regression tests and a moderated regression analysis MRA test. Based on the result of research that has been done and analyzed in the previous explanation, it can be seen that flexi time, FWOQ, has an influence on work-life balance, WLBS, directly. The p-value number for the effect of flexi time on work-life balance is 0.000. Turnover intention, or TIS, has not influence on work-life balance directly. The effect of turnover intention on work-life balance has a p-value of 0.463 or bigger than 0.05. Whereas turnover intention is not significant to be a moderator variable. The value for turnover intention as a moderating variable is 0.797 or greater than 0.05. The description can be concluded that the corollary hypothesis H null and H null and H2 is rejected and H1 is accepted. Thank you very much. Terima kasih teman-teman semua untuk yang masih bertahan. Ya, time is up. Ya.
Foto bareng Pak, semua Pak.
Oh iya, foto bareng. Mas Solil mau dibantu ya teman-teman. Bisa nggak tampilkan wajah?
Saya tampilkan wajahnya sejenak. Ayo boleh.
Ya, Mbak Aninda. Mbak Aninda.
Tadlu.
Mbak Ella, sudah belum? Mbak Ria?
Belum.
Pak Yud? Mas Ibnu? Pak Adi?
Tadlu.
Bu Ria udah
mana tadi ya? Oh, ada. Oke.
Tinggal Bu Anin.
Pak Galuh, sudah? Terima kasih banyak teman-teman semua ya.
Banyak aneh ini.
Bu Anin udah belum?
Ayo kita foto.
Bu Anin belum muncul nih.
Aneh nih. Nggak jadi deh.
Lanjut Pak, kamera saya trouble kayaknya ini.
Iya Mbak Ella.
Bu Anin nggak mau muncul nih?
Kameranya error Pak,
Oke.
nuwun sewu.
Oh, iya,
Ya udah, oke siap. 1, 2, 3.
Teman-teman terima kasih semua ya.
Terima kasih. Terima kasih
Terima kasih mahasiswa dari
Romo. Ya, sehat selalu.
Pak Erlan. Wah, jadi malu nih.
Semangat Romo.
Iya, masih 2 lagi.
Dua lagi. Oh, siap. Besok kita nonton Romo.
Terima kasih. Thank you.
Terima kasih
Terima
semua
kasih
teman-teman.
semua ya. Pak Didi terima kasih Pak Didi ya.
Ya, Pak Solil, terima kasih atas nama teman-teman di grup ini. Luar biasa bantuannya.
Oke, siap.
Semoga sabar terus menemani kami ya.
Iya, oke.
We living ya Pak.
Oke,
ya.
Pak. Oke, Pak.
Sampai ketemu lagi teman-teman.